Good Evening Bahamas coming up tonight.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. In the wake of Hurricane Dorian, which wiped out hundreds of homes and businesses on Abaco and Grand Bahama, Financial Secretary Marlon Johnson has predicted that the country's unemployment rate will jump to 13.5%. Jillian Gray reports.
Before Hurricane Dorian hit, the unemployment rate had decreased to 9%. However, in the wake of the monster storm that wiped out portions of Abaco and Grand Bahama, Financial Secretary Marlon Johnson is predicting that number will increase to 13.5%.
Obviously, the impact of Dorian is going to push that number up in the near term.
His prediction is even higher than that of Labor Director John Pinder, who said last month national unemployment could rise to 12%. Johnson furthered that the 13.5% figure wouldn't dip much in 2020, only dropping 0.3% to 13.2%. By 2021, the unemployment rate was predicted to have been 8.9%, the lowest rate in years. However, post-Dorian, the 2021 projection is 12.9%. Johnson noted that as new projects come on stream, the unemployment rate will begin to steadily decrease.
What will mitigate against some of the anticipated jump in unemployment is how quickly the island economies get back moving. And so the construction activity and rebuilding will generate some employment. As those businesses get back open, they'll start to pull some of the draw. So fortunately, we have properties like The Point coming on stream early in the new year to mop up some of the unemployment. So it really is the pace of economic growth.
As Grand Bahama and Abaco continue to pick up the pieces left in the wake of Hurricane Dorian, Johnson said his team has been tasked with providing support and solutions for small businesses on the affected islands.
In the near term, it really is around the activities around the Special Economic Recovery Zone. That does include Grand Bahama. It's to provide the tax incentives and to provide the measure of sort of support for small business, so the people who are in business can get the resources to open back up, and persons who are looking to rebuild their homes or to do some activity to be supported that way.
Johnson said part of getting people back to work is ensuring they have somewhere to live. 80% of homes hit by the monster storm were not insured to cover such a catastrophe. Johnson said the government is looking for a way to mitigate that problem in the future.
And in the longer term, what we have been tasked with at the Ministry of Finance is to see how we can find ways to incentivize persons, especially persons of modest means, to have affordable insurance coverage. Because you always end up in this dilemma that insurance is expensive. So some people forego it. When they do that, though, the burden falls back to the state. So now the state is in a position where you're right, it's the person has no home, so what do you do?
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, residents of Abaco are hopeful that the government will stick to its promises of making the process of rebuilding easy for Abaconians, according to the island's senior deputy administrator. Giorgio Bain reports.
As Abaconians adjust to what Senior Deputy Island Administrator Therese Boudou-Lang described as their new norm following Hurricane Dorian, she admitted that it's going to be a long road to recovery.
It's a long haul, we know that, and we've seen progress on the ground, in particular the cleanup phase. That is crucial. That is crucial because we have large volume of debris all in about the island, especially in central Abaco, but it's spread throughout even into North Abaco and onto the Keys. And so there is massive cleanup going on in and about the Keys and on the mainland.
Driving through the streets of Abaco, it's clear that the cleanup efforts have started. There are designated areas for vehicles that were damaged during the storm, piles of debris that were cleared away from different settlements, and even a special area for boats that were tossed around during the powerful storm. Properties are now filled with tents that will serve as a shelter for those who lost their homes.
It's not been easy, along with that, the amount of homes that have been lost, and so a number of residents are homeless, and repairs And so it's a long road, and it's not easy for residents here in Abaco.
But according to Lang, there is a silver lining. She explained that residents are looking forward to the fulfillment of promises made by the government.
The government initiative in terms of granting the duty waiver and VAT exemption is tremendous. It's tremendous for residents.
At the end of the day, residents have one goal, she says, and that's to build a more resilient Abaco.
We want to see, as we rebuild those, there's an strict adherence to building code, and we can do better in terms of enforcing them.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
Over on the Berry Islands, where the tourism product is expanding, some residents say more needs to be done to get the island's infrastructure up to par. Jared Higgs has that.
The Berry Islands are near and dear to Lorenzo Roll's heart. He grew up here and is happy to see the island's economy making progress. Things are looking up, but he says the island's residents still have basic needs.
You came up from the airport to come down the road, so that the road works needed to be done. You know what I mean? That's our next move, and that's what we're agitating for.
Driving from the airport to nearby Bullocks Harbor, the road is littered with potholes that Roll says are dangerous and cause damage to vehicles, especially at night. He insists that with the island chain's tourist product expanding, visitors will start to get curious, and that means more opportunity for the island's people, especially if the infrastructure is up to standard.
We need the road done now. If we could get the road done, that would be excellent. Because here it is, we have sometimes, eventually the tourists are going to want to visit the island for tours and all that sort of stuff, so we need to make sure the roads are safe and everything is great, you know?
The 2010 census lists the Berry Islands population at 807, but residents say cruise ship projects have helped balloon the population. Judy Pinder moved to the islands in 1965 when its population was less than half what it is now. She's seen delays in projects like the community centre in Bullocks Harbor for years before finally being completed. She hopes that other projects come soon and finish on time.
We need an airport and we need a road.
Back in May, government announced that the island would get a new airport terminal within a year. Critics say government's lack of investment in the island has meant that cruise companies like Royal Caribbean have to step in to improve the island's infrastructure. In fact, Royal Caribbean was responsible for completing the community centre and also donated an ambulance to the island. Still, with the title of worst airport in the country, Pinder says fixing it is a priority.
Need more than that, but they're the most two important things right now.
Roll, 37, is holding the government to its word on the $250 million airport expansion project. As far as he's concerned, the deal is as good as done.
Basically, the government already has that on lock.
Government officials who visited the island in the past have even acknowledged the sad state of infrastructure there. The island has seen very little improvement in recent years. This Berry Islander insists it is time for that to really change.
The roads is very significant so that we could be moving fluid and everything, because the potholes are crazy and we're losing it.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
As the Prime Minister and his delegation make their way back to the Bahamas following the embassy opening in Belgium, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquist dismissed claims that government only opened the embassy to prevent the Bahamas from facing further blacklisting.
We have no reason to believe we are facing any blacklisting. The fact of the matter is that we have gotten favorable results from our OECD reviews and EU reviews, and the progress on the FATF, as the Attorney General has repeatedly mentioned, is progressing in the right direction, and we're cutting down on the number of areas where we have been found to be needing to do a little sprucing up.
Turnquist said the Bahamas' physical presence in Belgium proves government's commitment to compliance with international standards and could benefit the entire financial services sector.
We have had the mission in Brussels for several months now, and this is just the official opening of that embassy. The ambassador and her staff has been engaged in Brussels, putting forth the Bahamas' position with respect to any number of matters in respect to tax cooperation and financial services. And we expect that the presence there is going to have an even enhanced benefit for the overall financial services industry and the Bahamas' trade relations with the European Union, with the African Pacific region going forward.
Still to come, Alive launches a new device, plus Zeta Phi Beta donates to the Ranfley home. Stay tuned.